Not Nerd Podcast, Episode 352, Apple September Event, Far Out.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we're here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Good morning. I'm
yes.
Tim Cook. We just got done listening to with faithful listener Tyler, or watching.
Yeah, so gathered around the radio.
The Apple Event 2022 iPhone.
Yeah,
Plus
the Far Out September event. This was the big iPhone announcement, as well as Apple Watch and AirPods were also covered. It was about an hour and a half. Beautiful production. Now, they did have people, journalists and everybody back in the Steve Jobs Theater, but from what I saw on Twitter, much like the WWDC, Tim Cook came out and said, "Hey, welcome everybody. We're going to watch this video." So all we saw from home was the video production, which was excellent as always. But yeah, an hour and a half, and they talked about some new stuff today.
They did. It wasn't near as fun as the Worldwide Developer Conference, where they're zooming in and out and have a bunch of jokey type stuff.
Yes.
It was very serious. I'm disappointed that we weren't there in person, because we could have heard "Good morning" in person, and then they would have hit play on the video, and it would have been "Good morning," and you would have
double good morning.
Double good morning.
Those lucky journalists.
Yeah. So they started out things with the Apple Watch of all things, and there's some interesting developments. They did remind us that for 7 years in a row they've been number one in watches,
Smartwatches, I think they said.
Some type of watches.
Yes.
And they ran us through the next iteration of the normal Apple Watch. More on that later.
Yes.
The Series 8 with a new temperature sensor that can help, Nate, you determine when you're ovulating.
Yes. They spent a lot of time talking about ovulation.
Yes, and some things that would make young men uncomfortable.
Yes.
Some things that remind them of health class, where they were like, "Can we go to the next section, please?"
Yes. But apparently this is a big thing. Within 0.1 degrees Celsius, it can do the temperature measurements. So this is, I'm sure, going to be extrapolated into many other features, but right now they were really focused on the ovulation, and they've had the period tracking stuff built in, so that's going to get a lot better if that's something of interest to you.
Yeah.
And then they talked about a new car crash detection, which they have the fall detection, but this is car crash detection, that they apparently crashed a bunch of cars to figure out.
They've done a million iterations, and I'm like, did they crash a million cars?
Yes,
did they crash the same car a million times? My guess is they had the phone, or I'm sorry, they had the watch in some type of apparatus that simulated a crash.
Yes, indeed.
But
or
anyway,
some sort of computer simulations, or a video game. They built the Apple Watch into a video game to test the crashes.
But it's kind of nice. Let's say you just have your watch and you crash your car. It can, of course, if you have your cellular connectivity, alert authorities, because you may be unconscious and may not be able to do that yourself. So very, very cool. They have two new sensors to accomplish this: a new gyroscope and an accelerometer, and I can't remember how many G-forces it can detect, but it's like up to 256 Gs, which we were discussing would just crush you.
And now detect a black hole imploding. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of Gs.
Yes, a lot of Gs. Well, they also said the all-day 18-hour battery life with a new low-power mode, which the watch hasn't had before, where you could get up to 36 hours on a full charge, which is nice if you're traveling or going to be away from a charger. You could use that feature and get a lot more life.
Yeah, if you're out hiking overnight or something like that, put your watch in low power mode so that you can make sure that it stays charged the whole time. And I believe we discussed that that's going to trickle down to older models as well. The iPhone 4, or I'm sorry, I keep saying iPhone, the Apple Watch 4 and newer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. They've got some international roaming for the cellular, so you'll be able to do more of that, which if you're traveling internationally without your phone and just your watch, I guess that would come in handy. Or if you're international and you don't have your phone on you.
Or if you leave your phone in the hotel room and you just want to go out for a walk with your watch, you can make sure you have data connectivity.
Yes.
And most of the times it's free or just a very small charge to add that feature. So that was nice.
Yes. And for all of the watches, they are available to order now. As you hear this, right after the event, they put that live and will start shipping September 16th. So next Friday, which we will hear that date again. They talked about a new Apple Watch SE 2.
Yes.
Which is 20% faster than the previous model.
That's about it.
Not a whole lot.
There's nothing. I think that it has a new gyroscope and accelerometer for the crash detection. And
Yes.
all those feature upgrades are available in the SE. It's just they remove some of the sensors to keep the cost down. But honestly, the cost is not that much different from the standard watch. So the people getting the SE are just, I think, older people that the kids are buying the watch for.
Oh.
Like I was at Home Depot the other day and a gentleman had an Apple Watch with the same watch face. And I said, hey, you have the same watch as I do. And he goes, oh, my kids got it for me for the fall detection and the heart rate monitor and all that stuff. So I think for elderly people or children of elderly people, they probably get the SE because it's the bare minimum and they could save $50 or $60. But for most other people, I would say just get the regular watch.
Yes.
Unless you're an extremophile, then what?
Apple Watch Ultra.
Yeah, a rugged
Yes.
watch for those who are not like us.
Yes, indeed. So this was very much focused around extreme adventures, running marathon or ultra marathons through deserts,
Yes.
mountain climbing, scuba diving. So it's a bigger watch. It's got bigger buttons, a new action button, a brighter display.
And some of the design elements lend it to the more rugged lifestyle with the little sides going up around the glass, sapphire cover, so that you can't hit the glass laterally. It's going to hit the case instead.
Yeah.
And then the digital crown is kind of encased around, is encapsulated by some metal so that you can't easily snag it on different things.
Yes.
So, I mean, if it takes a hit straight on the front, it's going to scratch or break. But a lot of the side impacts and stuff are going to be taken care of, I think, with this new design.
Yeah, so it's a 49 millimeter screen, whereas the standard is 45 or 41, and the Apple Watch SE is 44 or 40 millimeters, respectively. So the buttons are designed to be able to use with gloves, if you're scuba diving or if you're in the mountains skiing or whatever. So they're bigger and a little more rugged. They have a second speaker for louder sound and some new microphones for being able to do audio better in extreme conditions.
Yeah. Some of the other things are the cellular comes in all models because if you're an extremophile, you're going to want to have cellular connectivity. The battery life is phenomenal, 36 hours. Or 60 hours with the new optimization settings. So this is the type of watch that you would, if you are a camper or an extreme hiker or something, you're going to be gone for days. Just put this thing in low power mode or optimize settings. 60 hours. That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
Now, if you're interacting with your watch a lot and playing games on it, Flappy Bird or something, it's probably not going to last that long. But a Wayfinder watch face, a new watch face. My guess is this watch face is only going to be available for the Ultra and not for the other models. What else? Night mode, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It turns red. So the way human eyes work is at night, the longer wavelengths of light, like red, don't cause your pupil to dilate. People who do astrophotography or astronomy, all of their stuff with red lights keeps their pupils from dilating. What a great feature to have on your watch at night so that you're not blinded by the screen.
Yes.
So pro tip, the flashlight on your watch does have a red filter.
It does.
And I use that all the time at night so that my eyes are not
nice.
Dilated.
And of course, they have some new specially designed bands for the Ultra watch that are super rugged and all that good stuff. But they did talk about GPS and how they use the example for the Ultra Watch of running a marathon in New York City where it can't always calculate GPS, but they now have dual frequency L1 and L5 GPS.
What happened to 2, 3, and 4?
I don't know. They were worthless.
I guess
worthless.
So. But anyway, it uses both those frequencies for a more precise signal so that you can tell where you are more frequently.
Yes. And let's talk quickly, now that we've discussed all of the Apple Watch versions, the pricing. The Apple Watch SE starts at $249, the Series 8 $399, and then the new Ultra starts at $799.
Wow.
And then for the SE and the 8, there's different sizes, so you pay about $30 more for the larger of the two sizes. But going back to the SE, to be able to get into it at $249 as opposed to $400, that makes a difference for somebody who's not too serious about it.
Yes, and I think the argument there would be the SE versus last year's model, not the current year's model, because that $150 premium is quite a bit.
Yes, indeed. Well, next up was AirPods, and we have a new version of the AirPods Pro.
Yes, everyone was waiting for the H2 chip to come out. One of the new features is personalized spatial audio. You and I we're not huge fans of spatial audio, but I guess it changes it based on the size of your head and the shape of your ears and the ear tips and all that stuff. And so it's even more precisely designed to make your spatial audio experience better.
Yes.
We don't use it that much, so it's hard for us to comment generally. Active noise cancellation. It's 2 times more.
Really?
2 times more noise cancellation.
Yes.
So if it canceled the noise, it's going to cancel double the noise it did before, which is kind of cool because I use that feature and I can still hear stuff. If there's a lawnmower going outside or a fan blowing, I can still kind of hear those things, even though it's dramatically better than not having it. So 2 times more might be nice. And then the adaptive transparency, 48,000 times per second, it'll process the transparency mode and make it even better. I think the transparency mode is pretty good on the AirPods. I will say, however, taking my AirPod Pros out, I can hear better than with the AirPod Pros and with transparency mode.
Okay.
So maybe it will make it more equal.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm just like, I'm in transparency mode, but I'm still having trouble hearing you, so I take it out.
Yeah, and they gave the example of, like, again, you're in a big city, there's a jackhammer going on in the background, so this would take out the jackhammer loud noise but still allow you to hear other things, so it's just doing a ton more to try to be smart with that.
Yeah, and in addition to the little pressure sensitive clicky thing that's on the stems of the AirPod Pro, the new version has a little slide control so you can turn the volume up and down, which I'm going to love because I listen to my music in bed at night and I do wear my Apple Watch. And so let's say I get my volume set, I put my phone on my nightstand, and then I use the pressure sensitive controls to go into noise canceling mode. Well, now the music's too loud because there's not ambient noise going on. So I use my Apple Watch to change the volume up and down. But still, I mean, it's hard to see and it's bright and sometimes it doesn't work correctly. Having the ability to just slowly swipe up and down on the stem without any other external devices is a win for me.
Yes, it's also got longer battery life, up to 6 hours on a single charge, which is a 33% increase. 30 hours with the case, 6 hours more than before, so they've improved the battery life.
Yeah, that's substantial.
Yeah, and now the case was really a big upgrade. It has precision finding with Find My and a speaker to play sounds with the actual case. And it also has a little hook where there's like a lanyard
hook thing,
connector thing on there.
And I'm sure Apple will sell a $20 lanyard to hook onto the case. Or
yes. And then it can now be charged with an Apple Watch charger, MagSafe, Qi chargers. So basically any
wireless charging.
Yes.
Yeah, the Apple Watch charger just makes so much sense that because it's magnetic and it snaps on the back of your watch, but that's all it charges. Yeah. It's good for nothing else. Now you can charge your case with it is a welcome improvement. Now, if it would only work on my phone, that'd be cool too.
Oh, there you go. And those will be retailing at $249, which I believe is the same price.
Yeah.
You can often get them cheaper, the original ones, and this price will drop at some point.
Yeah, I've seen them for $199, and I want to say I've seen them as low as $179.
Yeah.
But I may be making that up.
Yeah, so those will be available September 23rd. You can pre-order on September 9th, which we will be hearing that date again. So we got the watches and the AirPods out of the way, which meant it was time for the iPhones.
Yes, and they've really changed things up this year. We've had the iPhone 10, the 10R, the 11, the 12, the 13, and now to change things up, it's the iPhone 14.
What?
I know. And they also have a surprise. In addition to the Mini, which is still on the books, is it the 13?
The 13 Mini. So the older Mini you can still buy, but for the iPhone 14, the non-Pro.
They went the other way.
Yes.
They went to the Plus. It's not a Max. It's a 14 Plus, just like we used to have with the 11 and the 11 Plus, 6S Plus, those different ones. They've brought that name back. And so just like previous Pro models, you can have the 6.1 inch quote normal size or the 6.7 inch plus size. And for all of those of you who care about this, the colors are midnight, which is kind of a bluish black, I think, or is it just black on the phones?
I think it's dark blue.
Yeah, starlight, which is kind of their champagne type color. Blue, a new blue, so who knows what that's going to look like. Purple and product red.
Yes, and the new phones, as you would imagine, they've got better battery life. They've also got a larger camera sensor, faster aperture, 49% improvement in low light capture. I'm not sure why they couldn't round that up to 50%.
Can we get 50, just a little more? It was probably 48.7, and so to get to 49, they rounded up.
And the front camera, the selfie camera, if you will, is a true depth camera with autofocus and low light performance.
And they've not had the focus on the front before.
Yes.
This is a new thing for the 14.
Yes, and they have something new called the photonics engine, which is deep fusion. Now happens earlier in the processing line, faster processing. Action mode, which looks really cool. It's a really advanced stabilization for video, which we were talking.
Yeah.
It's already very good, but this, it looks like it actually crops it in a bit. So then it can fully stabilize. So it looks like it's on a gimbal or something.
So GoPro and other manufacturers have had this technology where they crop into the sensor and make an ultra stable looking video. And now that's available on iPhone, which makes it even less of a priority for iPhone owners to also own an action camera because it's so capable. Now, the argument could be made that you don't want to damage your phone, so you don't want to put in extreme situations. But the last time I checked, the newest GoPros are like $600.
Yeah, so it's about the same.
It's like,
just buy another iPhone.
Yeah, if you break your phone, buy another iPhone.
Yes, they've got 5G. They are going away. You will no longer have physical SIM cards at least in the US. They won't have the SIM tray, so one less hole in the phone that's there, and it'll all be the eSIM, which they've had in combination with the physical tray for quite a while. But they did say that they've made a lot of improvements and worked with the carriers to make the whole eSIM process easier, because there have been issues with that and trying to transfer or update and all that stuff. So hopefully with Apple's market size, they can really influence that to be a better standard.
And one of the things they pointed out, it's more secure because someone can't take your phone and swap out for a different SIM. To which I would say, is that really a problem? If you have your thing iCloud locked to your account, nobody can use the phone anyway. I would say it makes it slightly worse for the user, because now you can't just take the SIM out of your card and stick it in a new phone. You have to do this eSIM process. And what if you're transferring from an eSIM phone to a phone that requires a physical SIM? You're going to have to go to the carrier and deal with all that stuff. So I think it's harder for the consumer, honestly, until in years in the future when everything is eSIM and that's the only option.
Yes. They also added the crash detection to the phones like they did for the Apple Watch. So if you're in a car crash, it'll automatically try to, alert the authorities.
We're going to have gyroscopes and accelerometers everywhere.
Yes, we are. Emergency. Now, here's a big feature that we had talked about as a rumor: emergency SOS via satellite. So it's free for 2 years with iPhone 14. It's coming in November. So they have built a specific system for emergency SOS where you've actually kind of got Find My Satellite, where you point your phone around when you're out on the deserted mountain and you find the satellite, and it's able to communicate enough information to give location, health status, and they've kind of got a quick quiz.
Yeah, it's very smartly designed, where instead of trying to type help, I'm here, and all, it's just like, do you need help? Yes. You, another person, multiple people, and it's just like this.
Is
little
anybody
wizard.
injured? Are you in water? Are you whatever it is? So then that relays to local, or hopefully somewhat local, emergency services to take care of you. So I think that's going to be a real helpful feature for, something that they were able to build in without adding it. They talked about, the GP or the satellite phones have these big old honking antennas, and they were able to do it without that. So that will be, I'm sure they will have a video in the future of people that were saved by that, much like they did for the Apple Watch at the beginning of the presentation about, people's health and all this stuff, where they were saved by their Apple Watch. Now your phone will have some of that. Another interesting thing is the Fitness Plus, Apple Fitness Plus service, which was only available if you had an Apple Watch. It will also be available to if you only have if you don't have an Apple Watch.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting when they did the Fitness Plus, and they said, with your Apple Watch, you can connect to your Apple TV and do all these workouts. And I'm like, well, that just cuts out a ton of your customers.
Yes.
Because not everybody has an Apple Watch. But now, if you have an iPhone, which are probably a billion people.
Yes.
A billion phones in your pocket, y'all, or whatever that Oprah quote was. So now it opens up that service to a lot of more people.
Yes. So iPhone pre-orders will start on September 9th, I believe. And I don't know for the iPhone 14, we were thinking that maybe the Plus was going to be available later.
October 7th is what I wrote down.
October 7th. Okay, Here it is. iPhone 14 available starting September 16th. iPhone 14 Plus available starting October 7th. So there is a couple week delay on the iPhone 14 Plus, but you can pre-order starting on September 9th. So Friday of this week.
Right. And that was it. That's no more iPhones. Oh, no, wait.
Wait a moment.
They do have the Pro models again this year.
Oh,
that's a big surprise.
That's nice.
They have and they're available. Everyone sit down for this, in space black, silver, gold, and deep purple.
Yes.
And it looks like they're maintaining the style with the stainless steel edges, the frosted glass back, or is it the non-frosted? I have to look. It is kind of the semi-frosted back. The Pros have the slick type of back, and the non-Pros have the kind of the frosted back, which I think I kind of prefer. And I think many people prefer the look of the regular iPhones over the Pro models. But they want the features of the Pro models. So.
I know. It's a bummer if they would just switch that. I don't like the shiny. But so kind of the thing they start off with, the big new software feature there was a lot of talk about what's going to happen with the notch. Is it, shrinking? Is there going to be two little dots? All this talk. Well, they have created software that is developed around the notch, which they're calling Dynamic Island.
Which it makes sense in context.
Yes.
But when they first dropped that name, everybody was like, what are you talking about?
Yes.
But if you think of these cutout sensors as a little island, they dynamically change depending on the context. If you were just on your normal home screen, it's as small as possible. And if you get a notification, it can expand horizontally, it can expand vertically, all seamlessly looking like the hole in your phone or the cutout is changing size.
Yes, yeah.
So it's very cool.
Yes, so that is more of a pill shape at its smallest size. It doesn't connect to the top of the screen any longer. But yeah, I really am excited about, they were showing if it's playing music, it'll kind of show you the waveforms and the album art. If you get a call, it'll give you features. And I like that it's all focused in that one spot, that we're getting away from the middle notifications, the top notifications, everything being different notifications, that everything kind of, and you can even have two up there. It'll put another dot if you're listening to music and you're on a call or whatever you're doing. So I'm really excited about it. I think it looks cool. From what I saw quickly on the internet, everybody's like, what a great way to take the focus off what the notch actually is and make it into something that is a dynamic island.
Yes, notifications, alerts, directions, timers, music, your headphone status, and third parties will be able to utilize the space as well. So your favorite weather apps or your music apps or whatever can take advantage of that space to show some interface elements.
Yes. And then we have our best display ever, Dave.
I thought they were going to go backwards this year and make a slightly worse display.
Go retro with 8-bit.
Yeah, but no, it's got thinner borders, 1,500 nits of brightness that peak at 2,000, which apparently is the brightest of any smartphone.
And I think they said it's double of the iPhone 13 was only 1,000 nits, which is crazy. So the peak of 2,000 would be, when you're in bright sunlight and it's still hard to see your screen, that it would kick it up so you can actually see your screen.
And I can see my 13 Pro Max's screen outside quite well. But wait, there's more. In addition to the brighter screen, it's an always on display.
Yes.
So it'll ratchet down to like 1 hertz, and the content, like your live activities, widgets, the new lock screen, which we've seen in the developer previews of the software, all will be available while the screen is, quote, off.
Yeah.
So very similar to the Apple Watch, where it has an always on mode. Now the iPhone does as well. Yeah. And is this only available in the Pro models? This is not available on the normal.
No, this is a Pro only feature, and I think that'll be nice. So you don't have to tap your screen or pick it up. You can always kind of see what's going on there with a quick glance. So I'm excited for that. They've got a new chip in this one as well.
A better chip?
Yes, the A16 chip for the iPhone 14 Pro. They've got the A15 on the iPhone 14 non-Pro. Why they can't either not use numbers for one of them or just make them line up with some marketing magic, it gets a little confusing. But hey, as you put in the notes, Dave, and thank you again for taking copious notes throughout the presentation. It's better in every way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk transistors and transactions and all that stuff, but no. And what we were really excited to hear about, the camera. So there was rumors on this, and they went with it. There is a new 48 megapixel quad pixel sensor for the main, kind of the standard, what they call the wide, but what most people would refer to as the standard camera.
Yeah. And what that is they've taken, instead of 12 million pixels, they've quadrupled that. And for every 1 pixel, there are 4 smaller pixels that make up that pixel. We've seen this other places with the Retina display.
Yeah.
They've made the display pixels smaller, yet they represent the pixel with the multiple subpixels. Well, this works kind of the same way, but they can leverage it. In some cases, they can gather all the light from all those pixels and distill them down to a standard 12 megapixel image. Or they can leverage the individual tiny pixels to suss out different details and use their machine learning algorithms. And even one of the new features, the 2x zoom. In last year's model, they had the 1x and the 3x between the two cameras. But now, since there are more megapixels, they can give you a 2x zoom as well. So 1, 2, and 3 is going to be very helpful because it keeps the image on the better sensor and it doesn't zoom in quite so far. If you've ever tried to do portrait mode with your iPhone 13, it automatically zooms to the 3x.
Yes.
And so it's like super close and you got to go way back or switch the camera lens. So hopefully some of that awkwardness will be mitigated with the 2x lens. And I find myself using the 2x zoom more than 3x anyway.
Yes. And so all 4 cameras on the phone, the 3 on the back and the 1 in the front, all are better. They have better low light performance. They said 2 to 3x better low light performance, which is something that people are always looking for. The telephoto does stay at the 3x zoom, but with this amazing new main camera, there's going to be a lot of features with that. And with the Apple Pro RAW, if you want to do the raw photography, it can take photos at 48 megapixels.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they built a whole new flash.
Yeah, the flash, I don't know. They give a lot of lip service to the flash.
Yes.
But I normally do not use the flash for anything except for like a flashlight. When I use flashlight.
Yes, exactly.
But they're able to kind of focus it and use different pixels, which kind of give you a different sensor array. But at the end of the day, all the light's coming from a tiny 2 millimeter place on your phone. It's not to the right, left, up, or down. It's coming from the same source. So I'm not sure what they can really do to make it better.
They did say it was adaptive, where there's 9 LEDs, so it can kind of, depending on which lens you're using, it can focus the light more or do a wider for better lighting. So it will be better should you use it.
No.
Probably not. Only in case of emergency.
I think as a flashlight is its primary best feature.
Yes. And they said all-day battery life on it. So that's the pros. The Pro and the Pro Max are the same, besides a little bit of battery life and the screen size, obviously.
Yeah. Outside of that, they're identical.
So those were the iPhone 14s. They spent a ton of time on the watch, medium amount of time on the iPhone or the AirPods, and it felt like, to me, they went through the iPhones pretty quickly compared to previous years. I liked it. They got to the stuff that you really care about, and they weren't talking about too long on the processors and all that stuff. It was more focused on what people care about, the camera and the screen.
Yeah.
So
the highlights for me were the new watch, the Ultra Watch, which I would love to have, but probably won't get. The AirPod case.
Yes.
I'm not really concerned about all the new evolution in the AirPod quality, but the case was innovative to me. And then the camera on the Pro models, the 48 megapixel. So those were the things that I really care about.
Yes. And let's talk just for a moment about iPhone pricing. So there was a lot of rumors that they were going to have to jack the prices way up on the iPhone. I don't think they did for anything. So older models that they still have available, they have the iPhone 12, the iPhone SE, the iPhone 13, and 13 mini. So you still can buy a new iPhone 13 mini. And then the iPhone 14 and 14 Pros. So the iPhone 14 starts at $799. The iPhone 14 Plus starts at $899. The iPhone 14 Pro starts at $999. And the Pro Max starts at, we should just said, $800, $900, $1,000, $1,100.
Yeah, just $100 price increments between these models. And so that's great because people can find the one that kind of suits their needs. And if they really want a feature on a higher model, it's a mere $100. I know that's a big stretch for some people, but if you're playing the Apple iPhone game, $100 should not be a deterrent for you, especially if you're looking towards the Pro models.
Yes. Well, let us wrap up with, you kind of mentioned what you're excited about. What I will buy before we started recording, I was on the Apple website and I was like, well, should I just order an Apple Watch Ultra? And I'm like, I do not need any of the features on it. I would only be buying it to have a watch that looks different on my wrist. My Apple Watch 6 is just fine, so I don't think I'll be buying one of those. The AirPods Pro, I don't need the noise cancellation, so I'll stick with, and I joked with Tyler that I actually have a pair of AirPods normal Gen 2 and Gen 3 in my pocket. Don't ask why, it's complicated. So I don't need those, and I am on the iPhone upgrade program, so I will be trading in my iPhone 13 Pro 256 gigabyte for an iPhone 14 Pro, and I might go up to the 512 gigabyte.
Look at you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on the 256, and it's worked out quite well for me. I'm only about 3/4 of my space used on my phone. So if I do upgrade, which I've told myself last year I wasn't going to upgrade, and I did. I told myself this year I'm not going to upgrade, so we'll see what happens. All things being equal, if I had just a very finite amount of money, which I really do, honestly.
Unlike me with an infinite amount of money.
But if I had a bucket of money and I could only buy one of these things, I would probably get that Ultra watch and keep my phone. I think that's what I'd really be interested in.
And we should also mention on the phones, and they mentioned it a couple times, and the reason you got the new phone last year is the trade-in programs.
Yeah.
And check with your carriers, see what Apple will give you, because you ended up basically getting your phone for free.
They made me an offer I can't refuse.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't have that advantage since I'm on the upgrade plan, but I was talking with somebody earlier. It's just easier because I'm going to get the new phone every year. I spread the payments out. But for the average person, if you've got a phone that's a couple years old and you're thinking about upgrading, check and see what kind of deals, what kind of trade-in you can get, because you might end up, if you want to trade in your phone, getting the newest, latest, and greatest for a couple $100. It might cost you
$100, $200, or $300 maybe to upgrade to the latest one, but that's a heck of a lot better than spending $700.
Ooh, yes. Well, with that, we'll wrap up this recap of the Apple event. We will be back to regularly scheduled programming next week, and I have been going through news stories. We've got some great news stories for next week that I was like, can we squeeze them in at the beginning? And it's like, nope, this is all Apple event.
You just have to wait.
We want to get this episode out as quickly as possible, so make sure you are subscribed so you'll get that next one with where we get back into the news and the tips and the picks. But hopefully this gave you a good breakdown of the hour-and-a-half presentation. We didn't go for an hour and a half talking about the hour-and-a-half presentation, which is always nice. But yeah, looking at Apple's event, there'll be a lot more information coming out. But pre-orders on Friday if you're looking to get in early on one, and try to get it for the 16th, the first day that they're available. So with that, thank you for listening. Now get out there and tech better.